Hello, welcome to PTCF TV. I'm Elizabeth Achimugu, and today we'll be talking on something very important. We'll be talking about what is sexual abuse. And with me, we have
Anna Williams.
Mohammed Hassan.
Yes. So today we'll be talking about sexual abuse. I know this has become a very important conversation. Everybody is talking about it. What is child sexual abuse? Am I abusing my child sexually? Who is abusing my child sexually? What are the things that can make my child to be predisposed to abuse? And a lot of parents are so scared and worried about the safety of their children. And for some who were survivors or who were abused as children, the trauma is still there, the trauma that they're finding it hard to overcome, and they're wondering, hope this will not happen to my children anymore. How do I prevent it from happening to my children? So today, that's what we'll be talking about. So let's start with Anne. What do you understand about sexual abuse?
Okay, the concept child sexual abuse has to do with any form of sexual activity between a child and an adult. And when we talk of a child, who is a child? Anyone who is between the age 0 to 18 is a child. So when a child engage in any sexual activities with an adult, we call it child sexual abuse.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just like she has said, any sexual activity between a child and an adult, and also it could even be between children, those who are less than 18 years old. So Hassan, I would like to ask him, what forms do you think this sexual abuse actually occur in? What way did it happen?
Child sexual abuse can happen in different forms. We have contact form, we have the non-contact form. It can happen between a child and a child. It can happen between a child and an adult. What is contact form? Contact form is a kind of abuse whereby there is usually penetration between either a child and another child, or a child and an adult.
So it involves any form of physical contact at all. So it could be in form of kissing, it could be in form of massage, caress, as long as there's a physical contact between the people involved, it is a contact form of sexual abuse. So we'd like Anne to also talk about us the non-contact form.
Okay, in the non-contact form, there may not be physical attachment between the child and the adult. It could just mean exposing the child to certain sexual activities or certain sexual behavior. Just like maybe you keep a pornography and then allow the child to watch, or you can keep the child around your environment where you're undressing, or you can just expose the child to certain things that are not sexually appropriate for that child. We can also refer that as non-contact sexual abuse.
Like she just mentioned, we know of women, they'll say, I want to dress up. We know we need one bikini, waiting they there. I'm waiting never see. Now me, now my bikini. So they are naked, even men, waiting they there, waiting never see.
Now my daughter.
Now my bikini, yes, now my daughter, now me born am. So why should I be shy? And you're exposing this child to a lot. You'll find some people that will tell you that when they grow up later, they become sexually, they are curious to see other people's bodies.
Yes.
Because they are so used to seeing their parents' bodies and adults' bodies. I've even heard of some women that want to spice up my marriage. This man, make it no get side chick. Then you have pornography on your phone. And this phone you have pornography. Your child have access to that phone. Your child prompts into it and begins to watch what he or she shouldn't watch. And the sad thing about it is that when they begin to see these things, they want to practice it on somebody else. There are parents that maybe because you are living in face me, I slap you. You and your husband will be having sex in the presence of the child. They no understand. You know waiting they happen, Jerry. Waiting they do. So because I born pikin, I no go do again. I beg. Then you find your child. Some children will tell you they just found themselves doing certain things because their parents were doing it, and they thought it was normal, it was okay. So those are non-contact forms of abuse that are very popular in our homes and in places. But because people do not see it as a form of abuse, they end up neglecting it. So I'd like to ask now, what do you think is the impact of sexual abuse on the lives of the children? Let's start with the children. Hassan, what do you think is the impact? What impact does it have? Does it even have any impact?
Yes, it does have a whole lot of impact, because a child who has been sexually abused will grow up to have insecurity issues, a very high level of insecurity issues. They tend not to be comfortable when they are around people. Any small experience relating to the experience they have can really trigger them, and they tend not to be comfortable in their environment. Another impact to it is they have what they call inferiority complex. They are not always bold to come out and talk about what is really happening to them because they feel like they've gone through certain experience and nobody knows about it. So what will it change if they even come out to talk about it? So it affects their confidence also. It makes them lose confidence. They are not always confident in themselves because they feel like, what if this person knows that I've gone through this kind of experience? If I act in this way, will it indicate that something has happened to me? So it affects them in a lot of ways.
And do you think it affects them with their academics? In what way do you think sexual abuse affect the academics of children?
You find that there is a drastic drop in their academic activities, and this is because the child cannot speak up, or maybe because of fear or because of the threat that comes with sexual abuse. So the academics is usually affected a whole lot.
Yes, so that's why you may find a child who was very intelligent suddenly coming down drastically because they abuse. The truth is, the minds of children are not wired to accept or accommodate abuse and traumas that come with it. So it affects their academics. They become fearful. Some begin to bedwet. Some even go back to regression. What they had stopped doing a long time ago, they may start doing these things. So some abuse affects children both psychologically, physically, medically, emotionally, and all aspects of their lives. And even some children, when they grow to become adults, the impact of the abuse is still there. And for some, unfortunately, because of the abuse, they themselves become abusers.
Yes.
So now, how do you think people, society can help children? How do they come in? How will society help children to
I
prevent?
think one way society can really come in to help children is teaching them about sex education, that is child sex education. Talking to the children about where you should not be touched, and whenever an adult touches you in social aspects of your body, you should try and report to your mom or your dad. You should not accept gifts from any adult who is claiming to be nice to you. That might be a step for groomers. It is called sexual grooming. We'll come to that also. So the society, especially the parents, should try as much as possible to give their children sex education. Importantly, they should not say it's a taboo or they are too young for it. No, they are not. There is a way you present child sex education to these children and they will understand it, and it will really help them avoid being sexually abused.
Yes, so age-appropriate sex education is key. So Anne, how do you think Protect the Child Foundation, with your years working with us, how do you think we have helped in preventing sexual abuse and molestation?
Okay. It's one way we've helped is by creating awareness. People are becoming open to talking about these issues of child sexual abuse. Before, people see it as a taboo. Oh, don't bring sex here. These are children, don't talk to them about sex. But we are creating awareness that it's something we need to speak out so that other people can get help. And we will also be able to help those who have been victims. We call them survivors actually. Those who have been survivors of this child sexual abuse. Bring them and get help for them so that they can be able to get the next, if it's treatment they need, if it's counseling they need, if it's maybe therapy they need for them to get help and become better people. This is how we've been able to come in to help those who have been victims and help the society at large.
Yes, and Protect the Child Foundation has created clubs in schools. We have clubs in schools where we talk to children about their body safety, vision, and the goal is to encourage speaking out, equipping them with the relevant information so they can speak out, speak up about sexual abuse. And Protect Child Foundation also wrote a book. I know some of us, we've gone through this book, right? This is a book that it's a life changer. I have gone through it, even though I was part of the authors, but I've gone through it and I've read it a million times, and it feels every day, it feels fresh in me. So it's titled The Trainer's Manual, a handbook on how to prevent, respond, and report cases of child sexual abuse. And the back of it says, "Stop child sexual abuse, speak out." So this book has every information you need on how to prevent, respond, and report cases of child sexual abuse. Thank you. Until we meet another day, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles, also on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on even LinkedIn.
Yes, we're everywhere.